Welcome to the Real Life Moms podcast, where we put ourselves at the top of our to-do list. I'm Lisa Foster, your host, and today I'm here with fellow hypnotist, past life regression healer, and counseling astrologer, Lindsey DePeri. And we are here to discuss astrology and how the planets influence us in our day-to-day lives. Hi, Lindsey. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Well, I'm really excited for you to be here. I've been wanting to talk to somebody who knows anything about astrology because I'm actually fascinated. But for myself and for those that don't know much about it, tell us a little bit about the basics behind the concept of astrology and like why is it important to know? How does it influence us in our lives?
Absolutely. So, this is an amazing time to be learning about astrology, becoming knowledgeable about astrology, and learning the language of astrology because astrology is an ancient science. And in fact, every civilization that we know of had a discipline around astrology and connecting with the stars, the planets, in order to understand life on Earth, understand personality, and understand our journey as humans in this lifetime. So, astrology is a way of understanding our intrinsic connection with the cosmos, with the universe. And we look at your birth chart, for example, which is a picture of the sky when you were born. And this is relevant, right? Like, why does this matter? How does this really influence life on Earth? We have a fundamental energetic connection to cosmic forces. We are constantly sensing their influence on an intuitive subconscious level. And these influences shape how life feels in any moment in time. They influence our emotions, the gravitational pull, for example, of the moon. We feel that intuitively, we feel that on a subconscious level. You can think of our bodies are 70% water. The Earth, planet Earth, is also 70% covered with water. And so, just as the moon governs the tides, the moon is also influencing and pulling on our own kind of inner landscape and our own internal tides, our own inner waters.
Hmm.
So we're influenced by the cycles of the moon every month. We are influenced by the solar cycle, which is an annual cycle, a 12-month cycle, and the rest and beyond. If you think of the universe, the cosmos as we know it, is 13 billion light years to the furthest reaches. And relatively speaking, the planets in our solar system, they're pretty close to us. We're like in this little neighborhood, this little cosmic corner with them. And we're traveling through space together. Our entire solar system and is like orbiting around this galactic center. And so these are the gods and goddesses, the heavenly bodies that are like in our vicinity, and so we're deeply connected with them.
Yeah. And okay, so last night, which is it's today, I think is February 3rd. Is that right? I don't even know what day it is, but
Yes.
around there that we're recording this. And I know here last night, did you look at the moon? Because that was the biggest,
It's
fullest moon
beautiful.
I ever saw. And it's like one of those you're driving and you're like, whoa. And I end up calling everybody out of my house. Come on outside. We have to see this thing.
I love
And we did.
that.
We
Yeah.
ended up driving around. So what's going on there? Because that wasn't, I mean, it was full, but it was huge. What's going on there? Is there something going on around us like at this instant? Because that was
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I always laugh when I always get asked that question. And the answer is always yes. There's always something going on. We just had a full moon on Sunday. And for about 3 days before the full moon and about 3 days after, the moon appears to be quite full. We are in that window. And also, there are times each month when the moon is actually closer to Earth, and there are times when the moon is actually further away from Earth. Its orbit isn't perfectly round, it is elliptic, if you will. So it's stretched a little bit
Mm.
more oval shaped. And so it can happen. And we're just finishing a tale of super full moons. The last four full moons were all super full moons. This one isn't technically, but it can be just that moment the moon was appearing quite full and was also relatively closer to Earth. And so it just, especially as the moon rises,
Yeah.
we get that kind of beautiful, striking on a clear night view.
Mm. Yeah, and I know there's like some people like celebrate some moon rituals or something like that. What does that do? What's that
Mm.
for?
Yes, oh, absolutely. So the moon lunar cycles, meaning the cycles of the moon, is really the feminine quality, like a very feminine aspect of astrology. You can think of the cycles of the sun each year, the winter solstice being that moment of renewal and new birth of the new sun, is the masculine cycle. So when we connect with the feminine cycles of the moon each month, we're really plugging into our own manifesting power, our own
Mm.
manifesting potential. The cycles of the moon also have to do with growth and transformation. So we can work consciously with the cycles of the moon to call in new energies, like aligned with our intentions, to release what's no longer working, what's ready to fall away, what we would like to let go of in order to create space for new chapters to begin, or what we're ready to heal and resolve within us. And so new and full moon rituals really honor that power of those moments in time, those moments in the lunar cycle. New moons are a time of new beginning. During a new moon, the sun and the moon rise together and they pass through the heavens in the daytime sky. We don't see the moon, it's under the sun's beams. But this is that moment of renewal, the sun and the moon aligned. And this is the beginning of a cycle. So, this is a really great time to meditate, reflect, bring your focus, bring your awareness to your intentions. You can also use this time each month to daydream about your best possible outcomes. I like to use this time or give the prompt of just imagining what if it all works out and practicing gratitude. Gratitude puts us in a more receptive mode, which helps us to energetically align with what we want to bring in with our highest vibrations. And to feel the other pieces with new moon energy, we want to actually in a meditative space or in that space of daydreaming, or it can be like when you're in the shower or when you wake up early in the morning or when you're driving your car, just having a moment of feeling, tapping into the feeling and bringing it up in your experience, the feeling of what you want, what you wish to like manifest or achieve or become, as if it was real in your experience.
Yeah, I love that. And so that's
Mhm.
with the new moon. How do we know when the new
Yes.
moon is?
Yes.
Because they all look
Um,
like full moons to me. I'm not gonna lie. If I look in the sky, how do I know what moon
how do
I'm
I
looking
know?
at?
Because I know you can't see it, right? You can't see
Yeah.
it. So it's so funny, right? Like just about every calendar I've ever seen has lunar cycles on it, right? They have full moon, new moon, quarter moons. So you can often find them that way. There is actually, if you go to my website and you visit divineoriginswellness.com/info, you'll find there some great resources for the astrology of 2026. And I've also created like a visual lunar phase calendar for the year. And it gives you for each month the date of each full and new moon. So you
Mm.
can have that there. And it's just like a nice little visual.
That sounds perfect. Yes. Okay. All right. Everybody visit the website. We will have it in the show notes so that you can look it up. Now, I also, moving to other kind of planets, if you will, you hear
Yes.
things that are, I think this is popular, right? Oh, my computer broke down. Mercury's in retrograde. It must be Mercury in
Right.
retrograde. They go, okay,
Yes.
what exactly is happening there? Why is it
Right.
affecting my computers? And how do I know when it's coming and what not to do and what to do during those times?
Yes, yes. My husband and I like to joke, we're like, Mercury's in the microwave. Don't get out of bed,
Oh.
just hang out. Yeah. So this is a great question. And this is just so fabulous because this is the kind of question that we ask when astrology is becoming more a part of our dialogue, our conversation, and how we're relating to nature. So I love talking about Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
Mercury retrograde is another feminine season. Every year, we have 3 to 4 Mercury retrograde cycles, and they happen like every like 2.5 months. So Mercury retrograde is a part of this natural cycle of ebb and flow, of masculine and feminine, of yin and yang, of doing and resting. And so Mercury retrograde is this time when the planet Mercury goes to sleep and invites us into a more feminine way of connecting with the world around us, of processing our thoughts, and of doing less, literally. Like it's really an invitation to slow down, catch up with ourselves, practice self care, and reset. And so I really love these seasons. I've come to really regard them as a sacred time, a sacred pause, if you will. And but really it's an astrological season or an energetic season in the heavens. The reason why we have planets that go retrograde is because there are differences in the length of the orbits, so the timing that it takes for a planet like Mercury, which is the closest to the sun, to orbit. Mercury orbits the sun every like 88 days. When it completes its cycle and lines up with our own orbit as where we are as the third rock from the sun, it appears temporarily for about 3 weeks to be moving backwards in the heavens. And when it is moving backwards, it comes into its feminine expression. Just like the winter is more associated with the feminine, or night is more associated with the feminine, this is our time to really just rebalance, to slow down, to rest, and we can use this time to really connect with our intuitive insights, our intuitive sensibilities, if you will. So I usually say Mercury retrograde is a time to create more space for rest, ease, self-care. In that window, and actually we have a Mercury retrograde cycle coming up, so it will be depending on when this airs, but it begins on February 26th and continues until March 20th. So that will be the next cycle.
Okay.
And so in that time window, like a great way to work with Mercury retrograde energy is like plan a half a day or a whole day if you can, or a couple of days if you can. We all have our own kind of ability to control our schedule, but set aside some piece of time that's meaningful to just rest or just have space. Have space for spontaneity, have space for your own personal passion projects, have space for a massage or something to pamper yourself. And also to just notice what's coming into your awareness and let go of forcing things to happen. So a lot of the agitation, like the frustration and the fear around Mercury retrograde, comes from resistance, kind of staying in that masculine mindset and trying to push our way through it, push our way through that resistance. That's when we get really depleted, things don't work out, we get discouraged, when we have setbacks, and we exhaust ourselves. And just knowing that, like just having that awareness can be really helpful. During Mercury retrograde, also, there can be like miscommunications, usually like important information is hidden. And so it can be a time when our plans get derailed. It can be a time when we like made certain plans and now we're just like the day comes and we totally don't feel like it. During Mercury retrograde, just give yourself permission to just let yourself off the hook, and give your friends and loved ones permission also to, like, if they need to flake out, they need it. Just come to it from that space of like compassion. Yeah, no problem. I understand, because this is that time that we really need to catch up with ourselves. And then in like our intimate relationships, especially being really patient, staying curious, and being open to kind of work through issues that come up because Mercury rules communication. It also rules like our thought processes, our decision making, our plans, and like transportation and travel. But I think it can be really valuable to just know that during these seasons, we might need to pause, make some space for a deeper conversation, listen, be willing to shift our approach, and be willing to work through something that just is having a tough time coming into the light, like coming up to the surface. That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, spring break's around then. Good. I'll be, I could be spontaneous.
You can
I
be
can chill
spontaneous.
out, knowing that my plans might not
Yes.
go well, but I don't really have plans. This is great. So that'll
Yes,
be perfect.
yes. Mercury retrograde is a great time for unexpected miracles.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like the magic happens when when there's that spontaneity. Someone's like, "Hey, do you want to get together?" Or "Let's go to this party," and you just have these rendezvous, and you run into someone you were meant to run into. That's when we're in that beautiful feminine flow.
I love that. Okay. So how does one work with the cosmic field? Like, how do we work with it, not against it, especially if we don't really know much about it? How do you know how to connect with the whatever's going on in the universe at the
Oh
time?
my gosh, yes, yes. And I think it's so easy to get overwhelmed. So I think like it's also a really key question. Another key question is like, what should I pay attention to and what can I let go of?
Yeah.
Because I think one of the most overwhelming things is to just be Googling late at night, what's going on? Is something happening? The answer is always yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we can at least check that off. Something is always happening.
Something's
Yes, it
always happening.
is. But how do I best prepare? How do I work with
Yes.
it? How do I get these magical, unexpected
Yes.
miracles? Those whole
I
things.
love this. Yes.
Yeah.
So I love this question. And I something that's really near and dear to my heart is this notion of living astrology as a practice.
Mm,
And it's a practice of flowing mindfully with the cosmos and aligning with sacred rhythms. And I think it can be helpful to know when there's a new moon or a full moon, if that calls you, or when Mercury is retrograde or not, if that calls you. But I think it's so powerful and so important to peer into your own chart, to peer
mm,
into and befriend and start to be curious about and explore your own birth chart. Your birth chart is your kind of soul compass in this lifetime. And it contains so many insights, so many layers that we can never absorb it all in one sitting. We can't absorb it all in one moment or one day. And that's why I say astrology is really a practice over time, more and more. And as we're moving through certain chapters in our life, a certain aspect of our chart might be more relevant. For example, you're having your Saturn return. There's another kind of common key life passage that we're now more aware of and we're asking more questions about in the collective. And know that your chart is always going to reveal itself to you, reveal kind of new insights and reveal what you are ready to receive in that moment. Start simple. Start with what's called the big three, which is your sun. Your sun is like your vitality. It is how the divine light shines through you into the world. It is what kind of fills you up. It's what motivates you. It has to do deeply also with your purpose
mm.
and your conscious self. And then we have the moon. The moon, oh my God, I could talk for a whole week about moon energy. The moon is how life feels. The moon is your emotions. The moon is how you need to nurture yourself. Imagine that. Imagine knowing your own unique recipe for self nurturing. Astrology gives us, it literally lays it out for us. And your moon is like how you cope with stress. Moon is also has to do with mother, your experience of mother, how you show up as a mother, and also your experience of mother growing up. You can look at your children's charts, look at the moon sign in their charts to understand how they experience you.
Mm.
But just for yourself, like starting even just with your sun, your moon, and look at the sign that they're in and also the element. Astrology is this like fascinating energetic language, this like ancient energetic language that describes your individual and unique quantum entanglement with the moment you were born, with the heavens on the moment you were born. The chart of your birth, the chart of your birth chart, or even the chart of this moment in time, does not repeat itself for 26,000 years. So it's
Oh
totally
my
unique,
God.
right? It's
Yeah.
totally unique. And the signs, okay, so then the planets represent like specific qualities of your inner landscape, kind of universal principles. I talked about your kind of your conscious self, the sun, and the unconscious self, which is the moon, your
Mm.
emotions. And then the other planets, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, they represent other aspects of your, like other kind of essential elements of the human experience. So how you communicate, your drive and motivation, like how you use your energy. And knowing that helps us understand our boundaries, when our boundaries are being violated or when we're crossing our own boundary lines. And we can use a deep understanding of, for example, Mars energy in this case, to learn how to really honor our boundaries and honor our needs for how we need to manage our energy so we don't burn out. And so that we can recognize when we're getting into something that is more of an obligation and less of a authentic alignment. Yeah. Then we have Saturn. Saturn is like the skill point you're learning in this lifetime. There's also other placements that describe how your soul wants to grow, how it wants to expand, and also how it longs to heal in this lifetime. So it's like, have this reverence for this mystery of astrology is like an art, a science, and a mystery.
Yeah.
But be
Yeah.
open to it and start small, start simple with your sun and moon, and then you can add some layers from
Mm.
there. Yeah.
So when you say start simple with your sun and moon and your sign, so I think most people know their sign because
Yes.
that's
Right.
easy to find out. But how do you know your
Right.
sun and moon? Like, where do you even get
Right.
that?
Yeah, good question. So your sign is your sun sign.
Your sun sign. So it's not like
Yeah,
I'm born in February, I'm a Pisces. It's not, that's
right.
not my sign, or it is my sign.
That's your sign,
That's
and
my
that's
sign.
yeah, that's your sign. The sun moves through all 12 signs every year, and it's pretty predictable, right? Within a day or so, it will be in Pisces at the same time every year. It will be in
Mhm.
Aries at the same time every year. And so we use our birthday to understand what is our sign, which really just means where in the heavens was the sun in relationship to Earth on the
Mm.
day of my birth.
Okay.
Yeah. So you already know that.
One down.
You
Yeah.
already know that. And if you don't, also at that same link, divineoriginswellness.com/info, there's a section in there that gives you the dates for the 12 zodiac signs. So you can just
Good. Yes.
cross-reference it, look for when your birthday is, and then you'll know your sign. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And then you talked about the sun and the moon, how you know.
Moon.
Can you
Yes.
explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So in order to learn your moon sign, you need to either consult an astrologer or use like a free software to cast a chart. And you get this like image and it looks like astrologies. It looks like a completely different language. It has all these symbols and glyphs. The moon symbol looks like a moon. You'll be able to find it on a chart. Or you can actually, you could probably just ask ChatGPT at this point.
Oh gosh.
Do you know
Yeah.
your birth date? You'll need to know your birth date, location, and time if possible.
Hmm.
The moon is the only planet or heavenly body that can, more frequently, it changes signs the most frequently. And depending on the time you were born, morning or afternoon, it could be in a different sign. So this is where it's very helpful to know the time of your birth. If you don't, it's okay. And there you can still gain a lot of information about your personal astrology. And actually, there are ways to reverse engineer your chart if that's something that you're interested in. So there's a few different ways to work around that. Yeah, so I would say maybe ask ChatGPT or use any free software. Uh,
I mean,
cast
it's
a
a
chart.
start. I mean, it's amazing the stuff you get off that nowadays.
Yes,
Okay, something
yes.
that I
And you
mean,
like double check it also.
yeah, exactly. Something I know chat might be able to answer, but I'm going to ask you because you're the expert. Is why do we need to know this? Not that we need to. Why is it helpful?
Yeah.
Why it seems helpful and I can see
Mhm.
it, but yeah, what is it gonna do for me?
What is it gonna do for me? Right, exactly. Like, why should I care?
Why should I
Um,
care?
I love this question. I love this question. And in some ways, you can. So, what I would say is astrology in your birth chart gives you this beautiful gift from the cosmos, which is your recipe for falling in love with yourself,
That's beautiful.
your recipe for self care. And it can give you a lot of validation, like confirmation and insight about how you best seek out fulfillment, make decisions, navigate a crossroads in life, which may be just a passage of shifting from one chapter to another, getting older, graduating to a new phase of life, or it could be a more epic kind of a crossroads of making a really big decision. Astrology gives us this really beautiful and powerful way of understanding our psyche and the sources of our own inner conflict. So if you've ever felt uncertain, lost, confused, out of touch with yourself in some way, or if you've ever really wanted to do something like go out on a limb, right? Blaze this new trail, do something that feels daring, that feels like a risk, and you're not sure. Astrology can give you a lot of really helpful understanding about that, or I guess like confirmation about that impulse that we feel, that
Mhm.
instinctive drive, that pull that we're feeling. Because a lot of the time we might think, am I going crazy? Is this real? Is this going to pass? And I think astrology really helps us take advantage of these windows of opportunity and to really align with kind of the calling of the deep self, the stirrings of the innermost heart, so that we can renew our zest for life, so that we can live in our full joy, in our full power, sharing our gifts with the world in a way that meets the world's needs. And also to come to this place to remember, to find their way back often to this place of grounded inner trust.
Yeah, okay. Like that's needed. I feel all those things all the time. So maybe I just need to pocket you in my pocket out every day.
Go
That'd
ahead
be
and
great.
put me in your pocket. Yeah.
There we go. That'd be great. But
Yeah.
since I can't have you in my pocket every day, are there some daily rituals, routines that you recommend for people just to, I don't know, be aligned with what's going on in the world and the sky right now?
That's such a great question. And I think one of the most powerful things that we can do is just find a moment of pause, 3 deep breaths, close your eyes, and just ask yourself, what am I feeling? And what do I need? Take a few deep breaths. What am I feeling? And then another couple deep breaths. What do I need? And that's going to give you sometimes surprising insights, always really valuable ones, and sometimes just a moment to just honor what's up for you and be guided from that point. And that's a really powerful practice. So simple. You don't need to learn all of astrology to get there. There's a lot of great references. As I mentioned, I would check out the info page that I created, pull down the lunar phases. I love working with lunar energy. And I have a couple of ways to be more connected and live astrology as a practice I offer myself. A lot of astrologers are offering really great resources and info. But one of the things that I share is a monthly Astro Flow membership. So this is to help you align with the cosmos, understand what's happening month to month in a digestible way, so you're not getting overwhelmed. And in community, we gather once a month virtually over Zoom to review what's coming for the month ahead and how do we align mindfully and consciously and navigate these cosmic rhythms from this place of being grounded, being connected with ourselves, and being in our power. And so there's a few different things that come with membership. You get a weekly email, and I also share affirmations for the moon and the signs. Moon changes signs every couple of days. And so it's just a way to tune in and connect. I really like to try to create these digestible kind of nuggets of distilled, useful, practical kind of insight and information. So that's one way. But yeah, I think there's so much power in just connecting with yourself and learning to tune into your own unique rhythm and the messages that you get from within, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing little digestible nuggets because it is really overwhelming. It's almost like a whole other language.
Right.
And you're like,
Yes,
what is that? I don't know.
it
But
is.
so important. Yeah. Okay. You started telling us a little bit about what you offer. So tell us where people can find you, what you offer.
Sure. Appreciate that. Yes. So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Sacred Stargazing. And I post there several times a week, insights day to day, as well as lunar affirmations. You can work with me if you would like to do a chart reading, if you'd like to have an introduction to your soul compass in this lifetime, your energetic blueprint. I offer 30 and 90-minute readings over Zoom and also in person. I have an office in Lafayette. My website is divineoriginswellness.com, and you can just click work with me to view some offerings. And I do also offer what I call soul support bundles, which are really a container for ongoing connection, dialogue, and support for you in either just learning more about your chart, navigating with greater skill and empowerment, or moving through a key life passage or any other goal that you have. It might be even learning astrology for yourself. And so those are also listed under work with me. And then I also have a gift that I'll share. If you go to divineoriginswellness.com/astrology inspiration, I've also put together just some ways to tend to your sun sign, ways to tend to your sign, things that will fill you up and revitalize you when you're feeling like a lack of motivation or drive or burnout. And so that's my gift to share with you as well.
Oh, great. And we'll have all those links in the show notes so people can just click on those and get that gift and everything because that sounds lovely. Now, what is one thing you want the listeners to start doing today after listening to this podcast?
I think it would be if you feel called and you want to learn more, pick either the sun or the moon and start to tune into those cycles of the sun or the moon. So if you want to work with the sun, you can go to my page. You'll get the dates for the sun and the 12 signs. And for 1 year, season by season, you can start to just notice what is your relationship with these zodiac signs. We all have our own unique relationship with these signs. And what comes up for you at these times of year, questions that you have, energy levels, when you feel especially creative, or when you feel that maybe you're working through something in particular. And just start to notice. And your mantra is, that's interesting. Or whatever comes up, just start to notice. And these are just powerful ways to tune in. Or if you want to work with the moon, you can take my lunar phase calendar, plot the new moon and full moon dates. There's also a couple great apps for working with moon energy, and start to notice the moon phases. And if you want to take it further with lunar cycles, I have an app that I'll share. It's not my app, but it's an app that I like to use. It's very simple for just tracking when the moon is in the signs. And also, if you're feeling overwhelmed, just dial it back. If it's feeling you don't have to figure it all out, astrology is really heady. And I think ultimately astrology takes us on this journey through the mind, right? Through the understanding of the symbols, through this beautiful kind of practice, which really takes us on this intellectual journey. But we cut ourselves short of its full potential if we can't bring it back into the body. into like how we feel, how we're caring for ourselves, how we're speaking to ourselves, the decisions we make, the boundaries we hold, and how we show up in our relationships. Always remember that like it's meant to help you improve your quality of life, not to feel overwhelmed or frustrated or going down these rabbit holes of, oh my God, okay, it's so common to feel like there's something wrong with my chart. I would say also just an offering that I have is like there are no bad charts. And there's always that element of that's interesting that can take us into a deeper discussion. And this is where we're really getting into that space of your soul's journey in this life, your soul having a human experience and how it is evolving and healing and growing and what that looks like for you in your hero's journey. So just give yourself that reminder.
Thank you for that reminder. And yes, it can get overwhelming, but it sounds like I also want to point out that you don't have to do it alone. There are a lot of people, including Lindsey, that can guide you through it, if you will. So there are people there to help you navigate this if you're really interested.
Yes.
Thank you, Lindsey, for coming on the show and sharing all your knowledge with us. And yeah, I'm excited to look through those moon phases. I might start with the moon for myself. I'm interested in that just because I was so intrigued last night with this huge moon and the power of it. So I might start there. So I'm going to navigate through your website and check it out.
Beautiful. Yeah. And enjoy the journey.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to learn more about Lindsey and all that she has to offer, just click on the link in the show notes. And until next week, keep carving out time for yourself and keep putting yourself on top of your to-do list.